supports a variety of recreation programs for all ages. See details on the city website at cotaticity.org. And this is not listed in the agenda, but just one additional announcement, which was an email that I received just today. But there's an eco-friendly garden design. It's a free talk here in Cotati, right next door at the Cotati room. And that will be May 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. And it is sponsored by the city and by Daily Acts. All right, moving right along. I am going to be talking all night long here. We have a bunch of proclamations. My goodness. So we are going to do these in some kind of an order. And we're first going to start with the Children's Memorial Flag Day. And is Suzanne here? Yes. If you'd like to come up, I'll read the proclamation. And if you have any words you'd like to say after that, we would be delighted. And with all of these proclamations, we do have a signed proclamation that we will turn over. What that means is going to be a photo op just when that's done. So I'm going to go ahead and start by reading this proclamation as well. This is a proclamation of the City Council of the City of Cotati recognizing April 2019 as Children's Memorial Flag Day throughout Sonoma County in memory of children who have died by violence. Whereas throughout America, tragic cases of violence against children occur frequently and senselessly, destroy innocent lives, and devastate families. And whereas the people of the city of Cotati believe in the celebration of life, diversity, and hope for the future through our children, and deplore and condemn acts of violence committed upon the children of our communities. And whereas MOVES, which is minimizing occurrences of violence in everyday society, and the Sonoma County Human Services Department are committed to raising individual and public consciousness of the need to care for all our children and to honor young lives lost. And whereas MOVES has acquired a children's memorial flag from the Child Welfare League of America, which has become a recognizable symbol of the need to do a better job of protecting children, and which is sponsoring a national effort to memorialize child victims, and which has been adopted in other California communities. And whereas it is urged to all citizens to increase their participation in efforts to prevent child abuse and child death, thereby strengthening the communities in which we live. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 9th day of April 2019 that the City Council of the City of Cotati does hereby proclaim the 4th Friday in April as Children's Memorial Day, and be it further proclaimed that the Children's Memorial Flag be flown for the month of April by the City of Cotati, and for a week whenever a child dies by violence in the City of Cotati, in remembrance of young lives cut short by senseless violence. And if you, any of you would like to come up to the podium, I don't
Sure.
know.
The microphone doesn't work, so I don't really need to do. Oh, look, it does. How about that? My name is Rob Sandville, and I am a member of MOVES, which is Minimizing Occurrences of Violence in Everyday Society. We were founded probably close to 30 years ago by Judge Arnie Rosenfeld, who saw too much violence with youth coming through his courtroom. And from that, a small group was formed. Been around for years. We do a couple of activities a year. This is probably the most important one. And we go around to all the cities and all the councils and the county and try to help raise the awareness. Unfortunately, the news does that for us every day, and that's really a sad thing. But all the more reason to celebrate this. We continue trying to make an impact in a small way in our community, and this is, like I said, one of the very important things that we do. I'm going to throw a real quick pitch in here. We have a new project. This says no violence on it. And our hope is that lots of people will relate to this and that we can get this out into the community. So if anybody has any interest, if you have a store, if you have a place you can put one of these, we'd love to give you one. So on that, I'm going to turn this over to Suzanne, who is going to tell you what the specifics of the flag are.
So this, as we said, this child flag, memorial flag project is here to make members of the community aware that there are things that they can do to prevent violence and to get involved in a proactive way. You can get involved in problem solving with people and intervening and trying to help calm people down. But this flag also symbolizes with the red body to leave a space for a child that could wind up dead. So that is symbolizing that this thing does happen, and we do know that, and it's a very sad thing. But we want to acknowledge that people in the community are taking an active role and taking a responsibility and encouraging the community to get involved and to realize that this doesn't just happen to other people in other places, but they can help with the situation. So thanks for having us and issuing the proclamation. We appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. So before you go back and sit down.
Okay. And I do want to acknowledge that Cotati has been flying the flag every day for the month of April, and I want to thank the city for that, because everyone doesn't do that, so thanks. This is your new clean flag.
So with that, I'm just going to see if any council member has any questions or comments. I'll start with council member Warren.
No, I was just commending you on your efforts to keep the word out and keep us and the public aware that it's something that's a significant issue and not push aside. So thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you.
Councilmember Harvey?
Yes, it's unfortunate that you have to do this work, but I know that the community appreciates all that you do to try and help children. They are our most vulnerable folks, so we really need to help protect them. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Landry?
Just thank you for your work and hope that other than this month, you never have to fly this particular flag.
Vice Mayor Stone?
I would also wish to thank you. I know it's very difficult work, but it's important to raise awareness, keep people involved, like we're saying, prevention as well. So thank you very much for your efforts.
So with that, we'd like to present this proclamation to you. So if you guys want to come up with the flag as well, we're going to turn out. Wait this door.
We should hold the flag.
You want to put the flag?
No, we should hold the flag.
It can be taller.
This is the big border.
Yes, this is the proclamation. I'm not going to worry about
Perfect. All right, smile.
I hope so.
I got you.
Excellent.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, our next comment. You can, this is microphone's working, you might as well please come up here.
I just wanted, Cindy Moreland was my friend who was a victim of the pious Point Reyes killer, David Carpenter, in the early 1980s, and she lived in the west side of Cotati, and her murder really affected the youth in our area, and I'd like to honor her memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief, very brief. Is it safe to assume that this memorial flag and this organization represents children who have died through abortion, late-term abortion? Because that's a very violent act as well. And that wasn't clear from the group whether they denounce all violence towards children, especially these late-term abortions. As we know, statistically, some 3,000 babies are aborted in California alone each day. 30,000 children are aborted in this country alone. Estimates are somewhere between 2 million abortions against unborn children worldwide each day. So I'd like to hear some clarification on what this actually means to those children.
All right, thank you very much for your comment. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this issue? All right, seeing none, we'll move to our next proclamation, which is in celebration of the Week of the Young Child. And it has been, there you are. See, everybody's jumping. You guys know what's here. This is great. So we're going to move through the same process. I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation, open it up to you if you have any comments to make, see if there's any comments from council, public, and then we'll do another vote.
Okay.
You just, oh, microphone. I think it's up here. Whereas the Child Care Planning Council of Sonoma County and other local organizations, in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children, are celebrating the Week of the Young Child, April 8th through 12th, 2019. And whereas these organizations are working to improve early learning opportunities, including early literacy programs that can provide a foundation of learning for children in Cotati, California. And whereas teachers, child care providers, and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in Cotati, California deserve thanks and recognition. And whereas public policies that support early learning for all young children are crucial to young children's futures. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 9th day of April 2019 by the City Council of the City of Cotati that the city does recognize and support the people, programs, and policies that are committed to high-quality early childhood education, and hereby proclaims April 8th through 12th, 2019 as the Week of the Young Child in Cotati, California. Be it further proclaimed that the city encourages all citizens to work to make a good investment in early childhood in Cotati, California. And with that, I would like to open the microphone up to you if you have any comments.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff, and citizens of Cotati. I would like to thank you for providing this proclamation for Week of the Young Child. My name is Renee Whitlock-Hemsavon, and I am the chair-elect of the Sonoma County Child Care Planning Council, an appointed state body under the County Board of Supervisors. This year and every year, the National Association for the Education of Young Children proclaims the Week of the Young Child in April. Every year there is a different theme, and this year the theme is to step it up. And it's in asking everyone, policymakers, citizens, individuals that have the ability to influence policy, to step up and advocate for children and families within our community. We know that there are upwards of 2,500 children in Sonoma County alone that are low income on eligibility lists waiting for a subsidy to provide for child care. We also know that often what happens in our community is children and families are not thought of first in planning and policy decisions. They are always mentioned in our general plans, but when it comes to make the decision on a specific project, they are often thought of last. So today I'm coming to ask you to advocate for children and families. Every time you see a new project and you think of a new policy or a new opportunity for children to be included in any development within the community, please advocate for them, because we need to ask ourselves at the end of the day, is it good for the children? Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you stay there for just a moment. I'm going to start this direction this time. I'm going to start with Councilman Land. If you have any questions or comments.
I'm just going to, thank you for what you're doing. I love the new theme, step it up. What you're suggesting is always good thing for us to remember, because it's investing in the future every time we talk.
Absolutely.
Great. No, just thank you for being here today, for all of the hard work that you both have for children in our community.
survivors connect with crucial counseling and other support services, and how every segment of our society can work together to better address sexual violence. Whereas, the City of Cotati reaffirms its commitment to address the issues of rape and sexual violence by remembering victims, supporting survivors, holding perpetrators accountable for their actions, and challenging societal myths and behaviors that perpetuate sexual violence in our community. Now therefore be it proclaimed on this 9th day of April 2019 by the City Council of the City of Cotati, that along with the United States government and the State of California, that the City of Cotati designates the month of April 2019 to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Haley Peacock. I'm the Prevention Education Manager over at Verity. If you're not familiar with Verity and our services, we are Sonoma County's Rape Crisis and Healing Center. We also offer counseling and education services to all of Sonoma County. I have to say that it's no coincidence that Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Child Abuse Awareness Month land in the same time. Unfortunately, sexual abuse is a prevalent form of abuse perpetrated against children, and as somebody who has worked in this field, taught in your schools, and is a product of the Roanoke Park Cotati school system, I have to say that it happens here too, and we often don't want to recognize that. But small movements like this, increasing the amount of work, and with the help of the community support and wonderful volunteers and interns like the two I have with me today, one of which who has some materials for our wonderful council, we can help end this problem. And so on behalf of Verity, thank you very much.
Moral support. Moral support.
As much as we'd like to think that things are changing and getting more progressive in regard to quality for people, it's not as fast as it needs to be. We see in some national situations, we see it being evolving. But it's great that we're at least trying to get more awareness out there, more education, and more people realizing that it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hardy?
Thank you for the work you do. It's difficult work. It's hard work. You are seeing people and hearing people at their most desperate times. And I know it's not easy. And so it's really appreciated that you are there for people. Thank you for that. And hopefully education at some point will help end this at some time in our lives.
I'd very much like to work myself out of a job.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to sound rude, but I agree with you. Vice Mayor Skill.
I would just echo their sentiments as well. It's incredibly difficult work, especially trying to get somebody to feel like they can turn around from being a victim to being a survivor, sort of changing that mindset. And then also I think educating people to stop it before it happens, to understand what actually consent means and having that conversations with, especially people who are maybe starting drinking and need to really have that conversation up front and have it in their brains before they get themselves into those situations. So thank you very much for your continued efforts in making this not a reality.
Councilmember Landon.
Yeah, I think this just underscores over the years we've seen hopefully greater awareness, understanding, recognition of the problems with sexual assault, sexism, violence in all its forms in our society, and that's good to know. But it's not lost on any of us that there's a lot more work to do. So very grateful for both the work you do as well as Derek. So thank you for being here to remind us all of that, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
And you know it's time for the photo, right?
Yep.
Very nice to squeeze in here.
What's that?
Can you get us in?
Yep. All right. Smile. All right. wish this thing would go off. My name is Jason Merrick. I'm your appointed commissioner to the Sonoma County Library System for the city of Cotati. Thank you for the recognition this evening, council members, mayor, vice mayor. We appreciate it. The Sonoma County Library is in a period of expansion, growth, and exciting times. Partially due to technology, the combination of the JPA and Measure Y. Our new community relations manager, Ray Hawley, is a product of the Measure Y and allowing the library to greatly expand its services. We're a place of refuge for people who don't have places to go. We do, for moves, for example, we do early child literacy and early education access for children. We have librarians for teens. We have adult education, adult literacy. We have digital resources for people who have been pushed out of the digital divide. So we really are that gap to all the underserved and unrepresented people in our community, as well as people who just want to come and get a book. So, or get a video, or go online and watch a documentary. So we are almost everything to everybody. And we thank you for that recognition, and it's only growing. Just to mention a few things that I've been advocating for the city of Cotati. Mona Adlwin, one of our new division managers that represents the Roanoke Park Cotati Library, is helping us put together a team program here in Cotati, where the teen librarian will come to the rec center, I think once a month at this point, and provide services to the kind of like a book club for teens at the rec center. So we're putting that together for the city of Cotati. I'm advocating for the bookmobile to. There's still a discussion on what services the bookmobile is going to be providing, but I'd like to see it come to Charles Street on a regular basis during the month for the underprivileged, for the senior citizens who can't access the library. And there's discussions of whether it's going to be programming, digital resources, or book delivery, or a combination of all the above. So that's being discussed, but in some shape or form, help get the senior citizens over in Charles Street. And then lastly, that just got mentioned today, I was with the library director. We're going to try to partner with SMART and do some type of library train between Cotati and Roanoke Park. I know our new library director, Ann Hammond, she's great. She came from Kentucky. Well, she was originally in the city of Alameda. Then she went over to Lexington, Kentucky, and now she's back. She's actually a product of California, the Bay Area. And this is back to her roots. But she helped start a program there where children with library cards can get on the bus system for free and go to the libraries. So we envision something of a library train. What exactly comes of it, I don't know, but between the Cotati train station and the Roanoke Park train station. So there's a lot of afoot, and Cotati is part of that, and I just wanted to let you know that, and thank you for the proclamation today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dave Tacheva sends his greetings. I guess we used to coach together. And I want to mention that I met Councilmember Landman probably 9 or 10 years ago. We talked about public art, and I'm concerned that I keep getting older and he never looks any different. So I think it's the water in Cotati. I'm going to have to take some home with me. Right. Not only is this National Library Week, it's also National Library Month, and the mayor will be helping us celebrate that later in the month by coming and taking part in a story time at the Roanoke Park Cotati Regional Library. So thank you. And any of the rest of you who'd like to do that, please let us know. It's also National Library Workers Day. There's actually, there's National Day of this and there's National Day of that. So there's 2 days that converge today, National Library Workers Day and National Unicorn Day. And we thought that was fitting because librarians are magical creatures. They can take you on a tour of just about anywhere you want to go. We do want to mention that this week we launched our new Wi-Fi hotspot lending program. You can come to the library and you can borrow the internet. This will benefit Sonoma County residents who don't have access to broadband either because of geography or because of income. So we're trying to keep that commitment to knock down the digital divide. So thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much. Now, I will say that I have a long-standing love affair with the regional library over there in build that facility, so. Oh, my goodness, the microphones are working. Look out. Now, well, that just means I'm going to be talking more. Okay. Just in time as the newspaper shows up, the microphones come on. And so that library has just a real special meaning to it. I mean, I certainly love all the libraries. And if anybody is interested, although it's really meant for, I believe, the reading to the children is like 3 to 6 years old, but I'm not going to kick anybody out. And the theme, it's next Tuesday that I'm coming, the theme is bunnies. So right now, you ought to be thinking, what are you going to be doing next Tuesday around 11:30? Yeah, I really hope you're not. Yeah, don't wear a bunny suit, please. So let's just see if there's any comments or questions before we give you the proclamation. Councilmember Moore.
It's not lost on me, talking about the library and the education that you're doing with the awareness issues along in April, and something inside of me says, if more people were using the library and accessing the library and having a greater sense of education, we would have hopefully less of some of these other issues. But I think it's just a tremendous program, and I think you guys doing a great outreach. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Harvey.
Yeah, the library is such a wonderful resource. I think it's a gem for us in Sonoma County, and not everybody has that. It always amazed me when I was on the Library Advisory Committee, and they would tell us the amount of books that got moved around. I mean, it's just crazy, how that happens, and it all seems to be so organized, and you can get a book from here and there and everywhere, and it's just a wonderful job that they do, and I'm so happy that the citizens saw that, and services are being able to be now not only restored but added to. So that's wonderful. So thank you for all you do.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Landman.
Yeah, I found the presentation.
The
really
ageless Councilmember Landman.
Well, not to be unkind, but I was thinking you might need a new prescription. But other than that, it is good to see you again. It has been some time, right? I found really interesting. I was thinking as you were talking, it seems like no matter how much change happens in society, you think of all the things we've seen in the last 20, 30 years, how much life has changed. The library continues to be relevant and needed. It's always there, and I think that's because you guys work so hard in finding ways to make it relevant for people, and this was just a perfect example. So I really found that exciting, because I think it's just because you really look to see what do people need, how can we provide that. Because information's a big field. It covers a lot of things. Charles Street, I just want to put in a plug. I think that's a great idea. If you have a contact over there, great. If you don't, any of us would be happy to help you with one. I think if you're interested in what resources they might want best, they'd be happy to meet and talk with you. This is a very active community that's happy to meet in their meeting room and have a quick afternoon meeting, and you get some good feedback maybe. So if we can help you with that, let us know. But other than that, thank you for the work you're doing, both of you. Good to see you.
All right, Vice Mayor Skillman.
Thank you. So thank you again for being here this evening. And I think one of the wonderful things about the library is that it does span all ages. I mean, it doesn't matter what age group you are or educational background or where you've come from, you can't help but benefit from the services that are available. Just in the time that I've been on the Library Advisory Board, we've got the Teen Center going, we've got the lending of the digital hotspots to help people out, and I've seen people, there are tablets there that you can use your library card to check out and use while you're there, and so it's just a great way to keep things very cutting edge, and also, like you were talking about, filling that digital divide of people who are your income level may be keeping you behind what other folks can access, and the library is a great equalizer. So I really appreciate all of your hard work, and thank you for being here.
All right, so you're the fourth and final proclamation. I think by now you know what's coming next, and that's the photo op, so here we come. Ms. Alderman, please.
I wanted to salute the staff of the Roanoke Park Cotati Library. I have a really fun story. About a month ago, my brother left his ID at the library, and so Nick Alva, the staff, who used to live in Cotati, called me and said, "Hey, your bro left his left his ID, and how's your mom, Christine?" So very personalized service for City of Cotati.
That's great.
Wonderful
Thank you.
staff.
Yes, and they are a wonderful staff. Mr. Barrich.
Council, I'll be very brief. The question came to my mind, where were all these accolades for the Roanoke Park Cotati Library some 10 years ago when Lynn Condé came forward from the Library Commission, or whatever her official title was, standing here all by herself, explaining to the council at the time that the cost of the library construction was going a little bit overboard, a little bit over budget, and they were short of some funds for the landscaping and some of the signage out front. And I sat out in the audience and I listened to her plea to the council if they had any monies whatsoever that they could donate to this Roanoke Park Cotati Library. And when she was done with her presentation and her question and her plea, there was silence. Still makes my hair stand up on my arms thinking about it, you know. I appreciate the comments that you guys made tonight, but I also want to reflect on history and take that walk down memory lane, that this new library and the financial challenges that were presented, and when the library came to the Cotati for some assistance, Cotati said no, and it is a tale. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else like to speak to this issue? All right, seeing no one, I'll go ahead and close that public comment period. And again, thank you all very much for that. And we will move to item 7, which is approval of final agenda. Do we have any changes, Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. No proposed changes.
All right, thank you very much. We'll now move to item 8, which is citizens' business and public comment for consent calendar items. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on any items listed on the consent calendar or any matters not listed on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the council is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item not listed on the agenda during this period. Pursuant to City Council Policy 2017-02, comments of any member of the public are normally restricted to a total of 3 minutes in length per person for matters not on the agenda, and a total of 3 minutes per person in length for any and all items on the consent calendar. The mayor may extend the time limit for a reasonable time where a disability accommodation has been requested. So do we have anyone to speak on citizens' business items? Ms. Alderman.
First, I'd again like to ask for Mr. Moore to publicly apologize for doing a degrading comment on his city email account. It is a public record. He's denied existence of it, but it is a public record. The other thing I wanted to talk about is you're not giving the public any idea of what's happening in the city as far as projects. People are asking about the hotel. We've had nothing. And here we are at another city council meeting, and there's nothing on the agenda about the hotel or about the marijuana, the cannabis licenses, how many were done. We've had nothing on how the projects are going. All we hear is what's going well. We don't hear any details about what's happening with the city. The finance report 2 months ago didn't mention anything. You're right on target when it comes to your government expenses, but we don't know anything about the projects. There's lots of information that needs to be disseminated here that's not being. We have no idea And things like the P1, no, it wasn't explained until you looked into a report that the whole east side of Cotati is waiting for the P1 so that projects can go ahead. Well, that's not been, it was buried in a report. That should have been an issue that everybody knew about. You guys are not disseminating information to people. They're looking to me now because you guys aren't, people are asking me all these questions because I'm the one who reads the city stuff. So you just need to disseminate information much more about the status of the city. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Mr. Barrich.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. I reiterate and support what Lori is trying to say here, really about proper updates from the city of what's going on. And I usually appreciate Damien's city manager's report, but there is an element of sugarcoating here by the city, which can't be denied. I always hoped that Cotati would really be a real transparent and open community where we got, from City Hall, we got the good, we got the bad, and we got the ugly. Because in that really demonstrates the health of a community and the local government. And we're not getting that. And that's what Lori is really addressing. We don't get that much from the police department either, but that's a leadership issue. I would like to see more transparency, especially about issues like weed abatement. We keep kicking around this issue of weed abatement. We've had representatives from the Rancho Adobe Fire Department District come here, try to work with the city. That can's been kicked down the road. We have no report, of the status of what's going on with the upcoming weed abatement policies and procedures that are coming up. Weed abatement's going to be a serious issue, and nobody wants to address it. I keep getting asked questions from citizens, hey, what's going on with Old Redwood Highway? It's like a roller coaster ride out there with all the potholes and pavement lifting up. And I said, hey, Damien, city managers, told us a year ago that the contractor's coming back to make those repairs. And I know things get delayed. We just want a little update. When's this going to happen? You know, not hard to push gelati in this construction environment to get things done, but you know, people are noticing what's going on out there. They said this road was just done and it's lifting in places. So it's got to try to be transparent. I think the community is very willing to join hands with you and work hard alongside you, but when we're getting shafted and we're getting misinformation and we're getting sugarcoating, it doesn't sell right, and the public is not stupid. You know, all the jokes and the humor and the chuck and jive doesn't get past this community. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this issue, which is public comment and citizens' business? Nope. Seeing no one, I'll go ahead and close this, and we will move to item 9, which is consent calendar. We have one item on the consent calendar. I'm sorry?
I would like to pull that. I just have a couple questions on it.
You want to pull that? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And do you want a staff report first? Or you want to just ask questions?
No, the staff report was pretty good. I just had a question regarding the refuse and the recycling and composting, that if we are mandating that they're setting those up and monitoring those?
You know, for the events, I know we are generally putting, well, all events had garbage and all have garbage and recycling. The new element is compost.
Right.
And I know there's been a push to get compost bins out there from our waste hauler. I can't speak to the specific event. I don't know, but I know in general we're trying to get those compost bins at all of our events.
Okay. After Sunday, in in looking at that, even though we did have some recycling and garbage there and composting, there's not an educational component, and it was all mixed in together, which completely misses the point. So I'd like to see if we could be a little bit more assertive in demanding that we have that at those markets, because that's a whole summer series. And it's also a wonderful opportunity for a greater level of education, because there is some confusion on what is compostable and what's recyclable and what's not.
Yeah, the cans themselves have labels on them, but that's usually not very effective.
Right.
As you're pointing out.
Yeah.
So they have been, just in general, I think the waste company's been trying different like informational signages, or maybe people monitoring cans in some cases.
Something along those lines I think would be great, just to make it a little bit stronger message.
Okay.
And that was my only concern on that. Okay. Yes, Councilmember Harvey.
So, is it not true that our franchise agreements have a component of education that is included in that?
Yeah, they do.
They do, so maybe there's an opportunity to have them participate in some number of those farmers markets to help educate folks. Maybe they should be invited to help educate, since they are required to do some amount of that.
I'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments from council members on that? No.
No, for me, thank you.
Then, did we have any public comment on that, since we did open it up? No, no public comment. All right, keep it closed. It's all right, so I'm looking for a motion.
So moved?
Second. That was really a little too quick for me, but thank you.
Sorry.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, please show that's a 5-0 vote in favor to move item A on the consent forward. And now we're at item 10, which is direction on any future agenda items. I'll start to my right. Anybody have any? Councilmember Harvey, it looks like you're ready to say something.
Well, I just think at some point we will probably need to be discussing the fees for the Sigma. So more to come. We have a meeting this week, but I think that it's going to have a council discussion.
And for the audience's sake, you'll define Sigma as?
Santa Rosa Groundwater Management, what is it, SGM Association, or agency, yeah.
At least they got the
Sorry.
gist of it now. Having to do with groundwater. Now we have the gist of it.
Groundwater
It's
Basin.
important. Okay, great.
This Sustainable Groundwater Management Agency
Thank you.
of the Santa Rosa Basin.
Of the Santa Rosa Basin,
Thank you very much.
by the state.
All right, Councilmember Moore, anything? No? I'll look in this direction. Councilmember Landman? Nothing? Vice Mayor? All right, I have nothing to add as well. And we will go to item 11, which is public hearings. And this is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do, but this is approval of one 12-month extension to the Lasker Knolls subdivision, tentative map subdividing 1.81 acres located at 65 Lasker Lane. And I'll turn this over to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So this item tonight, there was an issue with the display ad, the ad that goes in the newspaper, which means that we're going to need to continue this item. But in the event that anybody didn't get the notice, there's also mailed out notices to all the properties around. So they were followed up with an updated notice saying that it's going to be on this subsequent meeting on the 23rd of April. But in the event that somebody had heard about this public hearing and didn't get the notice that it's going to be continued, we just need to open it up for any public comment if there is any on this, and then we'll just keep the public hearing open and continue it to the next meeting.
Okay, great. So, so there is no staff report. That'll be at the next council meeting. And so we'll just, I'd like to open this up for public comment if anybody's here to address any of the issues at the Lasker Lane subdivision. Seen a couple of no's. Sir, just make some eye contact. You're a no as well. Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we will continue this item. Don't close the public hearing. I will not close the public hearing because it will continue to the next meeting. That's what I meant to say. And it sounded like a gavel hit wood. My glass just slipped a little, so. All right, thank you for your patience on that, and we will bring that up at the next council meeting. And we'll now move to item 12, which is regular agenda action, but there are none this evening. So we'll move to item 13, the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So on the P1 sewer, they're just doing final punch list stuff. So I think at the next, I'm expecting at the next council meeting, you'll see the notice of completion for that project. So it's getting close to finished. Also, on a related infrastructure project, the lighting project, they just are finishing that up as well, the last bits of it. So I'd expect to see that, if not at the next council meeting, very shortly after that for a notice of completion. So the kind of tail end of those public works projects from last year are wrapping up, and we're going to be rapidly moving into the new construction season. On development, just let everyone know that at the beginning of May, we're probably going to start seeing some construction activity on the Kessing Ranches 100 Valparaiso. So that'll be something different than the field that you see today. So there'll be quite a bit of activity out there starting in May, and they're going to be doing the grading most of the summer, and then they might start building houses end of summer, early fall, the model houses, because they will sell them as they will build them as they sell them. In other words, they're not what they call spec builders. They build as they get ordered. Yeah. So spec. If you're not in the biz, the home building biz, spec means speculative building. So some builders just build out a whole subdivision without buyers yet, and that's not this model. Which is also another common model of home building, which is they do all the infrastructure and site improvements, and then they put model homes up, and then they build the actual units as people buy them. So it'll be the actual home construction will be be over probably a year to 2 years before this all built out. We also just last Saturday, March 30th, we hosted our second annual Cotati Community Yard Sale, and it was a huge success. We had an overwhelming amount of donations from the community that helped support the recreation program and provided a fun event for all ages. I heard there's even some gym equipment there. Yeah, and anyway, it all went fast. It was actually kind of funny because Saturday was the yard sale, but on Friday night, people are already putting their face on the glass, looking in, trying to see if they can get first dibs at some of the deals in there. Yeah, professional yard sailors. They know when to beat the crowd. So we had approximately 300 shoppers that day, and that was triple the amount from last year's event. And all the leftover items went to a local nonprofit that serve homeless communities and others in need. And in fact, actually, it was just as an aside, it was so well attended by the community that it was comparable to, like, Windsor does the same thing, town of Windsor. Comparable in terms of size to theirs. So, I mean, with a much bigger community, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And the program itself is cool in the sense that it's sort of the donated items come from the community. They're sold to other members back into the community, either sold to the community or they donated to a local nonprofit for homeless and people in need in the community. And then the money that's raised gets used to support rec programs for the community, for children in the community and all ages. So it's kind of like it's a full circle, which is, it's nice. And then this coming Sunday, we're holding our second annual Bunny Brunch, which is sold out. So if you didn't buy your tickets yet, you missed the boat.
Got it.
Yeah. Oh, good. There's an egg hunt afterwards. And this event is for families to have brunch, visit the bunny, make crafts, and finish off the morning with an egg hunt with your kids. And we have a new revamped spring-summer activity guide called Explore Cotati, which if you'll see copies around here, but they're hitting the mail here for everyone in the city here great next week or two. So it looks a lot nicer than previous years. It's been, like I said, totally redesigned and hopefully much prettier to look at, but also more usable to find information. And it includes events, programs, and other offerings for this rec season, as well as business listings for the Chamber of Commerce and so forth. So basically the same information, but much better presented. And then we're also currently accepting applications for upcoming summer camp season. The job posting can be found at the city website. And I also saw we got quite a few inquiries through Facebook as well. So we're for information on this or any of our programs or to volunteer at an event, please contact Ashley at 665-4222 or awilson@cotaticity.org. And as I mentioned, you also can get our latest information at our website or our Facebook page with rec programs or really any city news. So be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions from council members for the city manager? Looking to my right, nothing. Looking to my left.
Congratulations on the bunny rush. Always does well.
You know, you could throw out there to those people coming that, you know, I will be reading with a bunny theme next Tuesday at the library. I just, you know, there could be some interest there. You never know.
You could check out the bunny suit if you want it.
I will not be wearing a bunny suit.
Oh,
I can guarantee that. It's not going to happen.
That was in your contract.
It's not going to happen. And the library folks are gone now, so there's, no, not happening. Yeah. With that, we will quickly then move to item 14, which is city council member reports. And I will start with Councilmember Landman.
I'm still picturing that front page story we lost of you in the suit, but whatever.
Not happening.
Photoshop could do this, totally. I do have one interesting, well, I believe you'll find an interesting thing to report. It might take me a second just to give you the background on it, so please bear with me. But as you know, Councilmember Harvey is our responsible person over in the Groundwater Management Agency looking out for Cotati interests, and they've been working very hard the last year or so trying to put this groundwater protection agency together. And as many of you remember, as I know Susan does, there was a lot of concern in the early wind-up putting together the JPA, the structure of this, making sure that there were good protections for cities of all sizes in this. In particular, an interest in the discussion and negotiations and making sure that there was no gaming of the system, that everybody who had an interest could come to the table, but there was an undue influence from bigger players, particularly as there was some strong interest from some in the ag and wine industry to want seats at the table, literal voting seats. And you may remember that through the negotiations, we finally agreed that no voting seat would be allowed until somebody went through a full process of actually providing some service through LAFCO. So here we are about a year later, and it was reported just last week at LAFCO. There have been efforts to create a Sonoma County groundwater recharge agency, which basically would be people who have, for example, a winery or something. Whenever they water, that would be counting as recharge. So that was what was being put forward, and a certain amount of numbers, signatures are required, just as anything, to start this agency. And when they turn theirs in, a large portion were essentially corporations, blind trusts, things where you couldn't essentially see a name assigned to it. And to make a long story short, they were hugely short of numbers. So staff there were able to tell them that we couldn't accept that application. As a last hurrah, I was told they did put a request to the board to ask if the board was willing to hear them talk about the need for this. And without an application that's appropriate, nobody was interested in that. So with that, it appears all that effort worked. We were able to look out for the interests of all the cities in the community and making sure that this focuses on just our constituents as opposed to too broad an array. So I thought you'd be happy to hear that, particularly for our friends that are working so hard on this every day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Vice Mayor Skillman.
The only thing I really have to report out on is attending the Historical Society's Chicken Barbecue on Sunday, and I saw everybody there, so I know we were all enjoying that. And it's just a wonderful event, getting the city's citizens together and being able to check in with people and talking a little bit about the history. And I ran into Dustin and Nancy, who work over at Farmster, and so they were having a great time mixing with people from the Historical Society and really talking about in depth what that property used to be used for and how they can maintain that historical use of the property. So it was a really fun event.
Excellent.
Otherwise, oh wait, sorry, I have to announce the birth of the 2 piglets at the farm. I know that's very important to a lot of people, and I do have a picture of myself holding an 8-hour-old piglet, so that was pretty fun. Not something you expect to do, but it was really fun.
Not something you can get across the street from any city hall, typically. Councilmember Harvey.
Yes. Let's see, what's today? Tuesday. Yesterday was the Water Advisory Committee meeting, and we approved the budget for 2019-2020. No changes from when the water agency came and presented to us, and it was a pretty short meeting there. And then I went with a group of folks. There's a lot of new folks on the Water Advisory Committee meeting, so they had a tour of some of the facilities, so I went ahead and went on that. It was interesting to see the new fish ladder and how the storms, in the last few weeks, how high they went up, and they actually went into some of the filtration ponds over there, and we couldn't actually even go down to the fish viewing because it was all full of sediment. I had not seen the education center that was built. I went a few years ago, and they were just building it, and it is really a beautiful facility. And it was interesting when they talked about it, because we were talking about children earlier. They have really improved their education program, and now they are seeing kids at the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade level, different programs for different age groups, but they are in like 95% of the schools within Sonoma County, so they've really gone a long way on, getting kids to understand different aspects of, water conservation and how fish use the water and how, all the different aspects of it. So I thought that was really wonderful. I also attended the Historical Society. It's always fun to actually serve, because you actually get to talk to people and see people in the community come out. But the weather was nice for us. I was a little worried when we were earlier in the weekend, but that is all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Moore.
I attended a REMIF meeting on the 28th. The REMIF health plan is doing very well. They have contracted with Sutter in addition to Anthem PPO, so that's opening up for more local people. They're still having some issues with the rural and more northern cities that participate in REMIF on the healthcare as far as providers, so having Sutter should help with some of that. And then the projected increases in the plan are just 5% for the employees and 6% for the retirees. So that's really good, and it's very solvent and doing well, and sitting on a really good reserve. And that was about it on a REMIF meeting. And then, of course, I attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting with Mr. Obid, and we have some new board members, so that looks looks like they'll be pretty invigorating with that board, and looking forward to to the 2nd annual music festival coming up in June. So things are going along well in that regard. And of course, the collaboration with the community guide turned out really well. The layout on that is really nice and clean.
All right, thank you very much. Just wrapping in, I know people have mentioned several events, but I did ride my bike down to the yard sale, and it's true, the old idiom that one person's junk is another person's treasures, because people were just grabbing things left and right. And yeah, I think Ashley said that there were people at 7 o'clock in the morning that were lined up outside, and this opened at, I think, at 9 o'clock in the morning. So pretty amazing. No, I didn't purchase anything because I didn't need anything. Part of my problem. On Sunday, the 31st of March, I participated in a brand new program on KRCB TV, and it was a news program where they look at issues, and they looked at the CASA Compact issue, which we've talked about several times at our meeting here. And David Rabbit, supervisor, started the program and had several minutes. And so I had the last 2 minutes of this 30-minute program. And if you recall, we had a 4-page letter that outlined 10 different points. So yeah, go ahead and wrap that up in about 1 minute and 20 seconds if you could. Thanks very much. So I tried to think of just 2 salient points, and that was all I really had the time to make. So it was what it was. And if people were able to see it or can go back and see it online, they can get a little more information, I suppose, at that. The Historical Society, John and I never really get to do food. They always give us the money thing. I don't understand that. I don't understand what's going on.
I do have to remind you that I did beat you again this year.
All right, could you turn that microphone off, Lauren, again? Like I asked earlier, that would be nice. Okay, so with that, I have nothing more to report out. And we'll go to item 15 for public comment on non-action agenda items. Ms. Haldeman, I just want to see if you'd get up before I called on you, but yes, come on. No, in fact, I saw your mother at the Cotati barbecue.
And her brother.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, my mom was impressed that you knew her first name. I wanted to address future agenda items. One thing that's been on social media that's very interesting is people are want to have a debate whether with the pavement management program, whether to fix those roads that are at 0, or if we're following exactly the pavement management program, and whether to fix the roads that are at 0, like West School and Richardson Lane, before more traveled roads in downtown. There's been some lively debate on social media about that. I'd like to see if that could be added. Sonoma County Transit routes still have route going one way, buses that go to nowhere. We really need to have those addressed. You had mentioned having somebody from Sonoma County Transit come, and that's not on the agenda. Of course, there's weed abatements coming. It's going to be a bad year if you go back, like down Road Park Expressway. You can see how high they are already. It's going to be 4 or 5 feet. I'd like to also hear a little bit more on the plans on the Cotati Marketplace. One thing that was very interesting this week, I saw, I think they were looking for tiger salamanders. There was men at West Cotati Avenue, the feds, with little nets, little in green shirts, so I think that they were the Wildlife Service. So I'm wondering if there's new mitigation plans and stuff that need to be addressed. That might be something that communication with the feds on things like that are in the critical habitat. That would be an interesting item to have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else? Any comments? All right, we will then go to item 16. If there was any information received after the agenda was posted, and we have none. And I need a phone. We are officially adjourned at 8:19.